Trump. Shareholders taking that in a bad way. Musk tweeting that Trump would have lost the election without his support. Here now for more is Tesla Bull. That's how you're being described out of Dan Ives of Wedbush. You just launched the Ives ETF, which I haven't had a chance to congratulate you on. But so let's talk about why Tesla shares are down so much on the spat between him and the president.
I mean, there's a view that the battle here going on between Musk and Trump, that this is going to continue to sort of, increase. And what that ultimately does is that autonomous and the regulatory vision, does Trump now not start to play nice in the sandbox with Musk?
I see.
So it really comes down to a big piece here is saying, does this beef between Musk and Trump actually continue to increase? And then the positive things you expected from an autonomous perspective and regulatory, now that's off the table because of what's happening here.
Right. So it's not so much about the EV mandate, which, as our last guest suggested, was always most likely to go away. And is, as Musk said, it's not even what he was, if we take him at his word, focused on in the bill. But you're saying, look, this is what people were worried about a couple months ago, that if Musk was too close to the administration, they would just do his bidding in terms of autonomous. And we had the video this week that was released of the pedestrian fatality, which is raising questions once again about whether their camera-based technology is the superior way to go or enough of a way to go versus LiDAR that it should be kind of broadly rolled out. So at the very moment that that's in the spotlight, here goes Elon Musk from the administration, potentially with the administration's ire.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is obviously very head-scratching in terms of Musk just going aggressively, right? In terms
Before we go further here, let me answer a very important subject here. I'm somebody that's owned Tesla since 2019, I believe I got my first Tesla. It was a Model 3 Performance Edition. Love that car, great car. From there I got a Model X, which I still have today. From there I got a Model S Plaid, which I still have today, right? So I've been a Tesla owner for, 5 or 6 years now at this point in time. And obviously I was a Tesla shareholder for a long time, right? Do I believe that Tesla's hardware, what they currently have in sensors and cameras, is good enough to do full self-driving? The answer to that is, I do not believe it is. I believe they do need LiDAR. And I've really come to that conclusion over this past year and really over this past 6 months. I'm really paying attention to stuff, really looking at what's going on, and I just don't think Tesla's current technology can get there. To do, obviously you guys saw that the accident that happened there, right? And I've seen a lot of the tests that have occurred in regards to Tesla. I've just come to the conclusion that I don't think Tesla can get it done. And you got to understand, every accident that happens with these cars is going to be under an insane level of scrutiny. And so, you have to be, it's not good enough to only be safer than a human. You have to be nearly perfect with these cars. Because if a human hits another human, like there's like people understand it, they get it. When a car is going to hit a kid, that is, that's not going to be like, that's going to be a huge deal. And so my belief is, I think Tesla's going to have to end up going LiDAR in the end if they really want to be competitive in this market, because I think it's going to be difficult to do it with their current hardware.
Shot across the bow. And I was next week, you have the launch of Cybercab robotaxis in Austin. So look, friends fight. So again, I think this is not one that you could basically say this is going to continue to get worse and worse. But clearly there's a line in the sand here. Musk has taken a stance. But I think the broader view, the reason Tesla stock's off the way it is, and I think overdone, is because the view that this means that Trump is...
Oh my gosh, Dan Ives. I couldn't agree with you more. And the fact that he's like, oh, it's just friends fighting. Dude, both of these guys are doing high levels of disrespect to the whole world. This isn't just friends fighting. Friends don't disrespect friends in front of the whole world and humiliate them. And what Trump kind of did, starting it there, was a little humiliating. Well, you can say maybe Musk started it, but Trump took it to another level. Elon just took it to another level, and now I bet you Trump takes it to another level. They're trying to humiliate each other in front of the whole world. I'm sorry, friends don't do that.
Because the view that this means that Trump is not going to play nice when it comes to regulatory, autonomous, and a big part of the view that was going to be a huge positive, and I still believe it is, for Musk and Tesla.
Why do you not think there's an increase? Let's say the market today is only increasing the chance that the regulation is not as friendly as it was 5 days ago. Do you think that's worth 9% on the share
No,
price?
I think this is a stock that, I could argue could be down a little. And it's my view that, like, if you're a believer in autonomous, like we are in robotics, this is a $2 trillion market cap in terms of Tesla. But the view that you went from basically first buddy in terms of Musk with Trump in the White House, Mar-a-Lago, and now they're doing this fight over social media, it's not what you want to see as a Tesla shareholder. And you saw it with Trump. I think Trump's obviously a little taken aback that Musk has taken this much of a stance. But again, this is one where there can be a lot more chapters to this story. I don't think it's done right here.
Is there a...
This is just ridiculous. Dan Himes just a ridiculous take here. Ridiculous take. I don't know what other way to put it. Robotics isn't going to be even a meaningful anything for Tesla until the 2030s or 2040s. That's not happening anytime soon. So just take that one off. Okay. So next up here, you have the core business, garbage. It's complete garbage right now. The numbers tell you it's garbage. Look at the numbers in the United States. Look at the numbers in Europe. It's bad, man. You can even look at the numbers in China. Their core business is not in a good place. It's in a very bad place. And you say, well, the next thing up is supposed to be this robo-taxi opportunity. Woo! Elon Musk just made a lot of enemies. That's the thing. Elon Musk is not making any friends, but he's making a lot of enemies. The liberals all hate him now, right? That's very evident. And the fact that Elon Musk wants to take claim that he helped, Trump get elected, it makes liberals hate Elon Musk even more, because we know they hate Trump. And now he's making all these enemies on the right. Who's going to have his back? The Democrats aren't going to have his back, nor the Republicans. He's humiliating Republicans right in front of the whole world. He's humiliating Trump. He's humiliating the right and all these politicians. He's got a lot of enemies now. Oh, does he have a lot of enemies? So when we talk about trying to, get that robo-taxi fleet out there and allowed in all these different states and cities, good luck. And believe me, when things do go wrong, it's going to be top levels of scrutiny, because all these politicians don't forget, how he's humiliated them, right? So, the fact that Dan Himes is surprised the stock's down big today, like, oh, it's overdone. Baloney. This got a long way to go. This could have a long way to go unless things magically, fix themselves between Musk and Trump. This could have a long way to go, right? I'd post it. Tesla should be around $75 to $125 right now. That doesn't mean it's going down to $75 to $125, but that's my honest belief. Tesla should not be trading at this crazy forward P it's at right now, or P in general. I mean, we're talking about this stock trades. Look at 1000X here. Just ridiculous trailing 12-month Ps and forward Ps. Given the levels of risk, if this company's fundamentals were amazing right now, and the core business was doing just banger, right? It could trade at a very rich multiple, but it's not. The core business is bad, and the robo-taxi opportunity looks more and more far-fetched. And then robotics is, once again, that's not till like 2030s or 2040s in terms of that it being any meaningful part of the business. So you just don't have a lot to be excited about at all, right? So why should it be trading at some crazy multiple? And then Elon Musk has just alienated himself from so many people on the right and the left now, which obviously has affected Tesla's numbers very, very negatively, right? So a couple of days ago, I opened up a put position on Tesla, right? And I have taken my profits here today, and that doesn't mean Tesla's done going down. I just like to, if I get the chance to make 40+% in a matter of a couple days, I'll take it. Whenever, you got to understand, I got great videos inside the course curriculums inside my private stock group, which will be pinned comment down there today. If you're looking to apply, join there, right? I have great videos that explain how I go into hedge, when I go into hedge. And I hadn't had any hedges on in quite a while, and I decided a couple of days ago, let me go ahead and start a Tesla hedge here. And so obviously it's done phenomenal, right? But that was kind of a hedge against, Tesla had ran a lot. It had kind of priced into kind of best case scenarios, in my opinion, already. And we're in a situation where the market's kind of a little extended here. So I said, let me go ahead and make a little hedge here, right? But when I go to hedge, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to kill it. I'm trying to make good money and peace out when I hedge. That's what I do. I make good money and I'm out. I'm not trying to kill it. I kill it when it comes to long positions. Long positions is where I go in and I kill it. That's when I go in and make the crazy money, right? That's where I go in and I'm trying to double up, triple up, quadruple up, 10x, 20x my money on a long position that I hold over several years. When it goes to a hedge, if I can make 20, 30, 40, 50% in a snap of fingers, I'm out. I don't need to risk it to maybe let me make more. No. Especially in regards to put options, because you got to understand things could turn the other way very, very quickly in regards to those. If all of a sudden the VIX comes down, all of a sudden you could be talking about you lose a ton of your gains. And then you could even take yourself from a situation where maybe you're up 40, 50, 60%, to all of a sudden you're break even, or that you're down. Oh, is that brutal? And because you've got time to work with, right? You don't have a lot of time to work with. A long position, I can work with that for years. I can hold a stock for 5, 10 years if I want, 15 years. With a put position, usually that it's expiring a few months from now. That's at least how I do it. Usually, sometimes I'll buy even further out than that, but usually if I want to put position, it's 6 to 12 months out, sometimes 3 months out, if I'm looking to hedge that way, right? And I do very well with my hedges. Like you look at the hedges I had Tesla hedge on earlier this year, did phenomenal with that, cashed out. Costco had a hedge on earlier this year in regards to that, did great. Walmart had a hedge on earlier this year, did great. This Tesla one, did great. And so my thing is when I go into hedge, I've got to feel like there's a lot of risk building in the market. We've had a big run and there could be something that kind of brings us down, right? And then I make my money and I'm out. And then if somebody wants to buy those and they want to try to make their next level of money, good for them. That's fine. I don't need to kill it when it comes to that. You give me 40% plus in a couple days, I'm not greedy, man. I'm not greedy. I'll take my money and I'm out, right? Long positions, I'm greedy. And so, anyways, that's just a lot of that kind of higher level talk. And once again, if you want to learn how to hedge, learn how to do what I do, take your game up to a much higher level than where you're at, pin comment down there, click on that, fill out a form, see if we can get you in my private stock group. Get in those course curriculums, man. Let's stop gambling money around. Let's start playing this game on a higher level and understanding how to play this game, like from the long side, building out great diversified portfolio, and then understanding how to properly hedge in certain situations because, look at Tesla today. Down 13, 14%. What a move.
Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. Would you like the ability to understand how to do your own research and not just rely on others to tell you which stock to buy? Would you like to have confidence in yourself when it comes to making your own investment decisions out there? If you're going to be able to do that, you got to have full understanding of everything you need to look for in stocks, how you can decipher whether a stock is a buy, not a buy, all those sorts of things. That's where my private group comes in to help. The description area down there will have a link to apply to join my private group. We've taken over 1,000 people over time and been able to teach those folks exactly what to look for in companies, how to research companies, how to understand financial statements, understand all the different metrics so you can make judgments on companies. And we've been able to have so many people, an incredible amount of people, hit 6 figures plus in their portfolios, 7 figures plus, even some hitting 8 figures plus in their portfolios over time. So if you're looking to take your game up to the next level and play this on a much higher level, apply for my private group. Once again, the link is in the description area.
Adobe stock. So this is a really fascinating stock. It's $400 here today, right? And this is a stock that's basically done nothing the past 5 years. Now, obviously great company. They've increased their revenues dramatically the last 5 years. They've increased their net income dramatically over the past 5 years. But Adobe's a really fascinating situation of when a high valuation reaches a situation where suddenly over the next few years, a cheap valuation emerges and it's on back of a new risk that comes to the business, right? And so if you look at Adobe 4 or 5 years ago, it had a very rich P ratio. Like look at the P ratio back for Adobe back in those days, a forward P ratio, very high. And suddenly you have this worry about AI, all these new AI photo services, video services, right? And remember, Adobe's got several different products and services in the market, but they make a lot of their recurring revenue from photo-related editing services, video-related editing services for influencers, creators, marketing experts, right? advertisers, all those sorts of things, right? And so obviously there's a lot of innovation happening in AI right now, and there's a worry about like, how's this going to affect Adobe's business model? Maybe this hurts Adobe's business model, right? And so that's a real thing that's going on out there right now, right? Now, my pushback on that is, one, if you look at Adobe's revenues, look at their net income, this company has plenty of money pouring into them constantly to invest into their business to create new products and services and make their existing products and services better and better and better. I've looked at some of their product offerings in regards to AI. It looks the best of the best. If you want to talk about the creme de la creme, because I've played around with a lot of these different photo, AI generators, video AI generators, right? And some are really bad, really bad. Some are pretty respectable. From what I've seen from Adobe, it looks about the best you're going to find out there in the marketplace, bar none, right? And so that's great, right? So they can continue to invest in their business to, fight off new competitors, new entrants, things like that, right? Also, remember, this grows the TAM exponentially, what's going on out there in regards to all these AI products, right? Additionally, if let's say there is some, new service, photo editing, video editing, something in the marketing space, advertising space, right, that pops off, Adobe can always buy those companies out, right? Like, Adobe has a long track record of buying out other businesses, and so they can make that happen, right? They couldn't do the Figma acquisition a few years ago. The Biden administration blocked that, but I think they could get a lot more deals done if need be, which they might not even need to do that. But if they do need to do that, and let's say they need to buy out some fast-growing app for $100 million, $1 billion, $2 billion, right? $500 million, whatever the number is, they can make that happen. That's a piece of cake for them, man. They got so much money pouring in this business all the time, and then all of a sudden they got a new growing business. So do keep that in mind, right? It's not like competitors just compete. Eventually, founders start to weigh the risk of like, well, could Adobe launch a product that competes directly with us? Do we want to go to war with Adobe, or should we just sell out for a fat dollar amount? Remember, a lot of these founders, these AI startups, a lot of them had no money. And then all of a sudden you could have a $50 million, $100 million, $500 million valuation. A lot of times you're going to take that, right? Now, additionally, look at what is expected here. Looking at 1000xstocks.com, look what's expected to happen to Adobe's earnings per share here over this next couple of years. Should be very, very fun times in regards to Adobe's growth in their earnings per share. Like, this is going to be a fun time period in my opinion, right? Now, additionally here, if you look at the valuation matters considerably. Adobe, I think two of the best comps to comp Adobe against is Microsoft and Intuit, because both those business models are very well-established business models that get, great recurring revenue streams that you look at as just stable business models. They got small businesses that use and mid-sized, large businesses. The same exact thing with Adobe, right? Look at Adobe's forward P. Adobe's forward P is 20. If you look at Intuit, 44. Microsoft, 32. I would say Adobe is at least 50% undervalued right now, meaning this stock should be at least 50% higher just based upon valuation. We're not talking about future growth over the coming years. We're not talking about this company's revenues and earnings per share 5 years from now. I'm just talking about the company you see in front of you today should be 50% higher. I think that's very fair. I think it's very fair to assume they should have a forward P a little under Microsoft, assuming Microsoft should be able to outgrow Adobe a slight amount over the next few years, right? And, assuming Intuit could, pretty substantially outgrow the earnings per share. But remember, Intuit trades at a 44 forward P, right? So 50% undervalued this company is right now. Now, the CEO of this company, this man's been leading the company since 2007. From my understanding, he worked at the company since 1998. He knows this company inside and out. He's gotten them through multiple cycles, right? You think about the mobile revolution, which obviously was a huge change to Adobe. You think about their business going from being like a one-off, like you buy the product one-off, versus they changing it obviously to a recurring revenue stream business model, to a subscription business model. That was a huge change. So this man's been through several fundamental changes in Adobe's business model, and obviously acquisitions and bringing those companies in and all sorts of things. So you got to always think, I'm going to invest in a stock. How comfortable do I feel with the CEO? This man's been doing a tremendous job at Adobe for decades, right? Now, additionally, you look at the employee count of this company. 30,000 employees. Now I think about AI and I think about how AI should transform businesses over the coming decade. And if anything, I think it should make a lot of companies like an Adobe a lot more efficient. So when I see Adobe with 30,000 employees, the first thing I think is I don't foresee them having to do mass hiring over this next several years. I just don't see it. I think they could keep that employee count steady, or maybe even drop that employee count for the next 5 to 10 years. And so therefore, I don't see them needing to massively increase their expense base on this company. I just don't see it. Not with the way AI and these AI programs are going to help a lot of roles. I mean, I'm even hearing, I think it was Microsoft recently mentioned something around, this is really important. I don't think people understand this. Microsoft mentioned recently, if I recall, it was Microsoft, 30% of their code is now being written by AI. What do you think that is 5 years from now? What do you think that is 2 years from now? 10 years from now, right? Imagine how much of the code is going to be just written by AI. I mean, this is really, really substantial, right? Really, really substantial. Now, additionally, Adobe stock's very cheap right now, which means what? It's a great time to do what? Share buybacks. Great time. When your stock's trading cheap like Adobe is, do share buybacks. They announced last year that they got a $25 billion stock repurchase program. And so think about all the shares Adobe's gobbling up right now at very attractive prices. Very attractive prices. So if you're somebody that wants to buy Adobe stock right now, which is, definitely one I'm interested in, it's a great time to be buying because you're also getting to see the company buying back shares as well at these very cheap prices, which is going to help earnings per share immensely over the coming years. Because remember, their net income should increase quite dramatically over the next few years. But then you take a bunch of shares off the market, your earnings per share can have extremely strong double-digit growth year after year after year after year, right? Now, one last thing I'll say about Adobe, and then we'll move on to stock number 2. This is a sleep well at night stock, in my opinion. I can sleep very well buying the stock and holding the stock. It's the opposite of like a home builder, right? Home builder, it's an up and down business. It's hot one moment, it's cold the next moment, right? And for Adobe, like whatever happens, tariffs, right? Recession worries, inflation worries, deflation worries, the economy's growing faster than expected. Trump, blah, 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 whatever. At the end of the day, Adobe's going to put up their numbers. And that money just keeps coming in. And so for Adobe, I really like this one. I think it's a great buy now. And one of those stocks you can just feel comfortable holding. It's not like it's going to keep me up at night, right?